I can picture the morning she walked out as clearly as if it happened yesterday. There was no shouting match, no slammed doors, only a text that popped up while I was brushing my teeth. Hey, don't worry about me this weekend. I need some time away. Please don't call. I'll text when I'm back. I thought at first I'd misread it. When I stepped into the kitchen, Emily's suitcase was gone from the hallway. No note, no kiss on the doorstep. Just a quiet house and the faint scent of a half-drunk coffee cup left on the counter. We'd been married 6 years. We'd weathered our share of arguments and reconciliations, but this felt unlike any disagreement we'd had before. She hadn't mentioned any plans. No names of friends at dinner, no hint of a weekend trip. She simply vanished. I called her. It went straight to voicemail. I texted, "Where are you?" No answer. By Friday evening, I was pacing the living room, eyes fixed on our wedding photo. At that point, I wasn't furious, only bewildered. Emily didn't just leave without a word. But by Saturday night, the confusion darkened into something heavier. I checked our shared location app. Her location was turned off. I scanned our joint bank account and found one charge, a booking at an upscale resort 2 states away, a place she'd once told me was too romantic because it reminded her of a college boyfriend. That was the moment the floor dropped out from under me. I didn't barrage her phone. I didn't hop in the car and drive off in anger. Instead, I sat in the home we'd made and felt how empty it suddenly was. The silence felt tangible, like the house itself was holding its breath to see how I would respond. By Sunday morning, something inside me had shifted. I refused to wait to the door like some patient, pleading creature. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me frantic and grateful for her return. So I began to pack. Folding shirts into a duffel, I felt no fury, only a clear sense of purpose. For years I'd been the fixer, planning trips when she felt distant, pushing her toward a new job when she was unhappy, promising we'd navigate whatever left her feeling stuck. She had chosen to go on her own journey. I was choosing to start one of my own. I reserved a small cabin 3 hours away, a quiet place near a lake we'd often talk about but never visited. It wasn't luxurious, just remote, with poor cell reception. Before I left, I took a slow final walk through the house. The kitchen table where we'd shared cheap takeout with laughter, the couch where she'd fallen asleep on my chest during our first snowfall. Everything looked like museum pieces, relics from a marriage that felt suddenly archival. I left no note, no explanation. I simply departed. I'd expected guilt to arrive on the road, but instead I felt lighter with each mile. My phone buzzed once that afternoon. A message from her, "I'll be home tonight." I didn't reply. When I reached the cabin and set my bag down, I sat on the porch as the sun sank. For the first time in months, maybe years, there was a calm I hadn't known for a long while. My shoulders loosened, and all I heard were crickets. That night I slept better than I had in ages. Morning brought a storm of missed calls and frantic texts. "Where are you? Why aren't you home?" This isn't funny. I allowed them to accumulate unread. She had asked for space. Now she had it. I stayed quiet, letting her messages collect like unopened letters. For once, I wasn't the one chasing, patching, or waiting. After 3 days I drove back, not because guilt pulled me home, but because I wanted closure. I wanted to hear whatever explanation she would give this time. The house was strewn with evidence of her absence, an overnight bag thrown by the door, sandals scattered on the floor. She sat on the couch when I walked in, eyes swollen and red, her phone clutched like a lifeline. The moment she saw me, she demanded, "Where have you been?" Her voice wavered between anger and panic. I didn't answer immediately. I set my keys on the table, shrugged out my jacket, and let the silence hang. "You just left," she said again, softer now, as if she wanted to convince herself. "Yes," I replied. At that, she flinched. She shot back that she'd told me she was going on a trip. Calm but steady, I told her what I knew. She'd asked me not to call, turned off a location, and booked a resort we'd talked about visiting together. A booking that felt more like an escape than a normal trip. That wasn't something you did with your husband. Her mouth formed words that never quite landed. "I needed space," she whispered, tears slipping free. "Now you have it," I answered. I moved into our bedroom and finished pulling my things from the closet. She followed, begging, saying it was a mistake, that she'd only wanted to feel alive for a few days. But I had already felt the relief of the life I hadn't been allowing myself. I'd tasted freedom, and I couldn't return to being the man she ran from. I'm not leaving out of anger. I told her as I zipped my bag. I'm leaving because I deserve more than being the one you run away from. If you needed to find yourself, fine. I do too. Her sobs echoed down the hallway as I stepped outside. There was no lingering, no last-minute pleading at the door. When I closed it behind me, the sound was final and, in a way I hadn't expected, almost beautiful.